Who's Scruffy-Looking?
Hello there, all you Duros and Dianogas, and welcome to the Scruffy-Looking podcast, the show where we talk about all things related to that galaxy far, far away. My name is Dakota Hayden, and alongside with me is my co-host and dad, Mark Hayden Jr.
Hello.
How's it going, Dad?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good as well. It's a little bit, it's been hot.
Yes,
we
very
are
hot.
Midwest located, and if you've been keeping up with anything weather related, we've been hit pretty hard with the heat waves and then random storms. So it's, it just is what it is.
But just as a little side, we'll take the heat compared to what some of the parts of the country have been dealing with those floods. And
Absolutely,
stuff. So,
absolutely.
Thoughts and prayers to all those people affected by all that
Yes,
stuff.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, Dad, last episode we covered Andor and finished that all up.
Andor what?
Andor.
Sorry. Little dad joke there. I'm sorry.
And we mentioned that episode. I hadn't until recently finished watching the Tales of the Underworld series that they had recently come out with. So I finished it. You've seen it. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about it?
Really like the Cad Bane episodes. Of course, I like old westerns and stuff anyway. Very much along the lines of those. Like that one. Thought the Ventress one was kind of a wasted opportunity. Felt like since they showed Asajj still alive in the Bad Batch, we got to show how she survived, and I felt like the only reason that one was done was just to show that.
Yeah.
For the first few seconds of the first episode, where it showed, how she came back to life and all that stuff, and the rest of it just didn't really do nothing for me. We had mentioned talking that it'd been neat if that Padawan kid would have maybe turned out to be Jod from Skeleton Crew or somebody, and then I didn't like at the end after they went through all that to get him there that he just didn't go and he ended up leaving with her. Didn't make it.
It seemed like
the whole thing just fell flat for me. I just really didn't.
I agree. Like even from like the journey that they went on to, it was like, well, what was the point of all that if you just ended up sticking with her at the end anyway?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I agree with you on both fronts. I wonder if it would have been if they were that, because I'm assuming, I'm betting you're right. They needed to show exactly how Ventress survived or how she came back to life, and I could easily see that that's the reason why they did it. Would you have been more okay if they would have had just that episode as a one-off, and then because kind of like we were talking about the Tales of the Jedi and how they had that series, they had one arc of it was like 2 or 3 episodes, wasn't it? Then wasn't there a couple like solo episodes in there that were just like one-off stories? So if they would have done that for like Asajj and then did like 2 others and then that 3-episode arc with Cad Bane, I think I would have been cool with that.
Or even if it came up with a better... one thing, I did like seeing those couple bounty hunters from the Clone Wars again.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
That was cool. Especially High Singer. I like him a lot.
That was funny because I remember when I saw him, I was like, oh, we mentioned him on one of the old episodes of the podcast, and I was like, that's cool to see him.
Yeah, just if the story would have been different or something, I don't know. I like Ventress as a character.
Yeah.
I was all for seeing more of her. I don't know. I just didn't. Do we know how she has a yellow lightsaber now? Has that been covered?
I don't recall when she would have got it, because, let's see, the last time she had red lightsabers, did she still have red lightsabers when she was a bounty hunter hunting for, what was that one arc in the Clone Wars where she popped up after Ahsoka defected, and they kind of worked together, but not, because they were trying to get Barriss, weren't they?
Yeah, they were red there, yeah.
And then I think the very next time we see her, she had the yellow one. So.
Yeah, and that's isn't it canon that the yellow is like Temple Guard color or something? I know Rey ends up, she has a yellow one there at the end of the Rise of Skywalker, but
I can't remember, because like I get confused, because in the old canon, in the Legacy and the what's Legacy now, or Legends, sorry. The yellow lightsabers were of more, I think It wasn't. It was like a Jedi Sentinel, and then they were associated with like the Temple Guards and stuff like that. But nowadays, I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Yeah, the whole thing with lightsabers now, just I don't know how they bleed and stuff, and then you start thinking, well, how come when Anakin turned, his didn't bleed, and on just
I don't.
Once they introduced that concept, I never did like that too. I liked it more where it was whatever kyber crystal kind of bonded with you, whatever color it was.
Yeah,
was what color.
And then the Sith had the synthetic
kyber
ones.
Crystals, yeah.
So they were kind of like almost a forced kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah, so I like that a lot better than what they've done with it. Now in Alkalite, it was neat seeing.
Oh yeah,
seeing it. It was neat seeing it done, but to me, it just causes a bunch of issues and stuff.
There's not like a consistent continuity with it. I feel like because I think even in I didn't read them, but the Vader comics, I've seen panels of them that when Vader got his red lightsaber, he had to go through some kind of strenuous test to break and bleed that thing.
Yeah.
So it's like to see that in the comics and then see that illustrated of where she really didn't. In the Acolyte, I don't remember her name, but she didn't really like. It didn't seem like she struggled all that much to bleed that crystal. So if there was a more consistent continuity with it, I feel like that'd be nice. But it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, so, I still like the old school.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that as well. But yeah, she's got the back to Tales of the Underworld. Ventress has got the yellow lightsaber. I will admit it was cool to see because they went after that. What were they going after that was inside one of those Star Destroyer balls? I can't remember what they were going for exactly, but it was cool to see that they were upgrading 2 Star Destroyers from the Ventners. So that was cool to see at the very least.
Yeah, there's some cool moments and stuff, but just overall, I don't know.
It was cool, the interaction with the old Separatist veteran and her kind of like, hey, we're on the same side. Yeah. Like, there's no need for this anymore. Yeah. Like,
do you wish it would have been like somebody we might have known?
I think that could have been a little better. I mean, I
know that. I mean, that makes the universe small again, where everybody knows everybody or whatever. But
I like the interaction we had, but it would have been cool if it was someone. I know who you would have liked to have seen in that cabin. You would have liked to have seen Admiral Trench in that cabin.
No, that's all right.
He somehow survived again after getting shish kebabbed by Skywalker.
Somehow Trench has returned.
They did that. I mean, oh my goodness.
That might have made a better story for Rise of Skywalker than what they came up with.
So, we have our opinions on the Ventress story. Wish it would have been something different. It was okay. It was just okay. The Cad Bane storyline.
Right. I liked that a lot. I liked it a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really, and like the last episode, spoilers ahead for anyone who hasn't seen it, when they had that reveal of that Isaac being his kid and stuff, I was like, whoa.
Although I started getting kind of suspicious by some of the dialogue, and then I was like, well, that looks like a little mini Cad Bane, and in the back of my mind, I'm starting to put together, wait a second, I think maybe Aaron was, with child, and
then as soon as and like even the scene where like their eyes were matching, you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
So that was
yeah, cool. I mean, but I like how it was all done and all that. I thought that was pretty good stuff, and that's a neat little moment. I don't think they have to do with anything with Isaac, which just is. You had Nero, and Cad Bane was Colby, right?
Colby, Colby Bane.
But then you got Isaac. It's like it's like okay.
It's so funny in Star. I feel like that happens a lot. You have these Star Warsy names that fit the vibe, but then you have like Isaac, like a human name that just is in there, which. It's fun, it's like, sure.
His dad was Colby, so his name should have been like Gouda or something like.
Or Jack, Colby Jack. Yeah, that was good. And we were talking before recording that just the Western vibe of that arc was really cool. It's I feel like there's some people that would classify Star Wars as kind of like a space western, and I think it can be really when it's done really well like that. Because like you have moments like that. I think of moments like I know we would have changes with how the Book of Boba Fett was handled, but like there was that end scene with him and Cad Bane that was an Old West inspired. The moment between what's his name and Din Djarin on that one planet, he was in Tombstone.
Oh, I can't remember his characters. Michael Biehn.
Their scene together was good, and like.
And see, I really like him. To me, that just having him in that one episode was almost kind of a.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad he had a role in a Star Wars show, but man, I kind of would like to see more of him a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I love when there's Western tropes in Star Wars because for some reason I feel like it fits really well.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, part of the goes back to the origins of the concept and everything.
Yeah, so that was it felt very textbook. Like I'm watching a old school Western play out here.
And it made me think of when he took the hat from the other one. I can't. What was the one he was working for?
It wasn't. Was it Laszlo? No. Lorenzo? No. It started with an L.
Yeah. But when he took his hat, kind of made me think of the in Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade.
Yeah.
When the whole thing with the hat kind of thing kind of made me think of that a little bit.
Yeah. No, that was cool. That's cool.
So Cad Bane died in Boba Fett. I think we'll ever see anything more with Cad Bane?
I don't know, because we don't fully know that he died in the Book of Boba Fett, so I don't know. I almost wish that would have been more definitive in the... Well, okay, so we have a lot of changes that we would have made to the Book of Boba Fett. I wish they would have built up more on the backstory between Fett and Bane. And then at the end of the Book of Boba Fett, you could have sent off Bane in such an epic way of like finally taking down the guy who was the greatest bounty hunter of his time, who only got that title because Boba Fett's dad had died at the Battle of Geonosis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of usurping that title from the guy who took it after his father was gone.
Yeah.
So that would have been cool, but I don't know what you do with him now. Like if he did survive.
Do like everybody else, he's got to be redeemed.
Oh yeah,
he's had a change of heart.
He's going to go back and find Isaac.
He's going to go find Isaac.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then Isaac's going to turn to the dark side, and he's going to stab him with a lightsaber, and Cad's going to fall off the platform. And
they get the old sequel treatment.
Yeah, I mean, I like Cad Bane. I love Clone Wars and stuff. I'm ready, animation-wise, to go away from there.
Yeah.
For a while, and go to a different time period. I'd really like to see something between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and I know some of that's being filled in with live action.
Yeah.
And I wonder if part of the reason they're not doing that is because there's still some more stories to be told there, and they don't want anything to contradict what they're working on. But I really, like I said before, would like an animated show with Han and Luke and Leia. I mean, to me, that's how you can further tell their story and fill in some holes and stuff like that. Excuse me, but then I kind of, thinking of the animation overall, I kind of wish we're so used to the Clone Wars style animation now. I really kind of, and not a dig against the people on Rebels and stuff like that. I wish they would have kept the animation style the same and just had if there's Star Wars animation, this is the style it's in. Yeah. I kind of wish, and I like Rebels. I'm not saying but it would have been kind of neat if the stylization, I think it would have flowed all kind of better,
No, I agree with that. And that, I don't even remember, did they have, because they weren't working on the Clone Wars when Rebels came out, were they?
No, I think they were done. Yeah.
So they had to bring in a different animation studio for that, weren't they? Or something like that?
Or they just changed the style. I'm honestly not 100% sure on that.
I'm not fully sure either.
But yeah, I knew it just went good.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think there's more holes that need to be filled between that time gap that you just said. it's fun getting the stories that we have in the time set that we have been getting them in, but I feel like we have enough. We can leave that be and focus on this part of the timeline and kind of build that out a bit more. Would be nice.
Yeah. And then you could have the Mandalorian, you know, appear in it every once in a while when the time comes.
Yeah.
For him, you know, and you could even show a little more of his backstory. You know how the Clone Wars sometimes would kind of veer off for an episode or two someplace different, and yeah, I hope someday they end up doing that. Now that brings me to the Darth Maul show.
Yes.
Now I have high hopes for it to fill in some of the stuff that maybe we would have got in some solo spinoffs or something. So to me, if they're doing it and we end up seeing more clones in, you know what I'm saying? If they tie it too much into the clones and stuff like that, I'm not going to like it. But if it's taking place in that post, you know, Revenge of the Sith time period,
shift to the Empire.
And where, you know, I know that we had the Bad Batch in there, and then eventually you get to Rebels. But if they deal with something other than kind of the main thing going on in the galaxy and delve more into like the Underworld, and maybe, you know, can have a little the Mandalorian backstories in there with it too, because you know, with
that would have been around the right
with the Mauldalorians and stuff like that. If they kind of, you know what I'm saying, kind of stay away from the clones, the Bad Batch. I hope there's not. I like the Bad Batch and all that, but I hope we don't get like cameos from them in it, or where they're tied into it.
It's its own thing in a different in a different playing field.
I'm hoping we get a lot of Kira kind of showing how she got, you know, in with Darth Maul.
Yes.
With the Crimson Dawn and all that. Some Dryden Voss, you know,
to see him,
some of those things like that, you know.
I think that'd be cool.
And, you know, you could tell Kira knew Lando from before and stuff, you know, with their dialogue and interaction stuff. I'd be all right seeing Lando see the Falcon, and you know, it's newer, you know, how it was before he got all tore up and everything. But that'd be. You know, that'd be cool.
I'm excited to what they could potentially do with that.
So. And
I'm hoping the title is very revealing that it's something like that, where it's in the back, it's stuff happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm just worried we're going to get a bunch of Bad Batch and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or it's going to just be like another avenue to get more of some of this other stuff. Or I want to kind of go a different direction with it and fill in some of this other, what else is going on in the galaxy besides the rebellion starting to build up and all that.
I agree. I think it'd be a good avenue.
To me, that, you know, we've had so much in this time period. That's one area we haven't touched on. So it would be neat to see some of that stuff. Would just make that even more, you know, fill that time period with even better, I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, the Star Wars universe is so vast. There's tons of things happening at any given moment of time. It'd be nice to just take our attention away from what's been the grand spotlight, which is, you know, the Republic turned into the Empire, the Galactic War, the Civil War, anything of that. And if we're going into the Underworld, that'd be a cool perspective to see. Even just how that shifts with the balance of it. Because you know that when it went from like the Republic to the Empire, the whole the power shift in the Underworld would have had to adapt along with that, with how they operate and that power struggle.
I mean, give us some Hutts.
And
we stuff
can see
like
Hutts.
That,
we can see more of
Black Sun.
There was what was the Pikes?
Pikes, yeah. So hopefully we get a lot of that, that kind of stuff. So
let's see the start of Conja Club.
Hey, you know, I'd be all right. That, you know, some of that stuff we, you know, kind of help. Like I always said, how I liked the prequels, but Clone Wars, to me, made the prequels even better.
Yes.
That it filled in some of the gaps and stuff. You know, had little things like that to... I feel like I'm always bashing on the sequels. But I think the sequel trilogy needs some of that stuff, too. Now, honestly, in my opinion, it's going to take more work.
Oh, yeah.
But little things here and there to kind of start... You know, that'd be good. I'd like that.
I would too. Well, do we have anything else for Tales of the Underworld, or anything coming up going on?
Now I wonder what the next Tales of, like we was kind of talking before, I think they just need to call it Tales of.
Yeah.
Because to me, the Underworld didn't really fit those what we got, and I feel like the Tales of the Empire didn't really fit. I think they just need the.
It's just Tales, and then just one-off. They just these stories.
Yeah, you can do a 3-part story, or you can do just an episode about this or an episode about that or something.
Yeah.
The name to me the titles of the series just aren't really covering what they're.
And like I'd say that'd be some way to like incorporate like we're basically just building more lore and like filling in story gaps. So if they could just maybe I don't know something like that for the titles, because like even like Tales of the Jedi and stuff like that they had that arc about Ahsoka and stuff, which she's not really a Jedi anymore.
Yeah.
And then like they had that stuff with Dooku and stuff, which was fun. That was cool, but like. He was a Jedi and then he turned bad. So it's like, I don't know.
Out of, let's see, we've had Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Underworld. Out of what we've got so far, which one's been your favorite story?
I got a top 2. I really liked. Speaking of the Dooku story, I really liked that arc, and then I really liked the Cad Bane.
That'd probably be my 1 and 2. I like the Dooku one a lot. Yeah, I like when he found out that Qui-Gon was dead, and the stuff with Yaddle and stuff. I really those 3 episodes I like those a lot. That's probably by far my favorite one, and then probably Cad Bane next. Probably the Saj one's my least favorite. And the Bars one, it was neat to see what happened to her, but I was like they're going to redeem her, and I'm so tired of people getting.
Why can't bad guys just stay bad?
Yeah, why can't they just stay bad?
I don't know. Star Wars has kind of got that full circle. They always got to come back full. Very rarely does a hero have a fall and then just they're done.
Yeah,
it's the hero, then fall, then they get redeemed, and then So, which is fine in stints, but all the time it's just not. Well, Dad. So on top of. Tales of the Underworld was released earlier this year, right? Mm-hmm. I completely forgot if it was or not. On top of that, and covering that, this year was a pretty big year, and I mentioned this in an episode prior, and I'm flabbergasted I even forgot. But this year was the 20th anniversary of the release of Revenge of the Sith, which is pretty crazy. And
thanks for making me feel old.
Yeah. Revenge of the Sith, personally, is my favorite Star Wars movie. There's a whole nostalgia surrounding it, and that's the first one I remember. But we're gonna get into a little bit more of that here in just a little bit. But before we get into that, we're going to cut into a segment that we've been popping into the show here and there called Scruffy Scratchers. So, Dad, for our audience members that might not be familiar with what a Scruffy Scratcher is, it's basically, I'd like to say it's nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking for fun.
Just, overanalyzing
different scenes that would have appeared in the shows, the movies, whatever, and just digging into it just for the sake of digging into it.
Yeah.
So, Dad, you had one, and it was on theme for our next topic for the episode, so what you got?
How come the Jedi why were they so stupid and didn't realize what was going on behind the scenes with the Sith and the clones and everything?
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of...
That's always been one of the things about that whole, the prequels and the Clone Wars and stuff. It's like, what are you, stupid? And I feel like, that in the movies they mention the dark side clouds, everything, and I was like, that's just a way to cover up that they're not smart enough. But I mean, and you know, let's go to the Geonosis arena, and Padme and Obi-Wan and Anakin are chained to the pillars and looking around, and they're up there. Obi-Wan is the bounty hunter that you went to Camino for, up there with the bad guys and Count Dooku. And don't you, when you sit down and talk to Yoda after that battle and all that, and you're at the temple with Yoda and Mace Windu and everything, don't you like, it's kind of odd that the clone, the donor for our clone army is on the other side up there. Do you think, nah, what a coincidence.
I didn't even think about it. Yeah, the imagery, he's right there.
And then Mace kills him and stuff, and that's, don't you think Obi-Wan's probably like, oh yeah, that bounty hunter you killed, he's the donor for the clone. All these guys, all of our troopers look just like him.
And like nobody, they don't even question that.
Yeah, they don't even question. Yeah, it's like, and then then Dooku even tells Obi-Wan that the Senate's in control of of a Dark Lord of the Sith, and they're like, well, we need to pay more attention to the Senate or whatever. But then you have the Chancellor is all these emergency powers and stays in office long. Don't you start putting two together? Yeah. Where okay, the Senate's in control. He controls the Senate. Oh! Didn't Palpatine tell Yoda your arrogance blinds you?
Yeah.
Or something like, are they that far gone that they...
I would assume
they just... It's happening right in front... Is that what we're supposed to...
I think so.
That they're so far gone as what they are supposed to be as an order...
Yeah.
That... They're in denial of what's happening right in front of their face.
I'm thinking that's the path that we're to believe. Because we dog on the sequel trilogy all the time, but like Luke even mentioned, like they were at the height of their power and they still didn't see what was going on under their nose.
So, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. How's this for something I've been thinking about? What do you think of this? Yoda knew and he let it happen.
Ooh.
Because you remember there's those Clone Wars episodes where like he goes...
Doesn't he go in like
with the Force with the
wills? Yeah.
Does Yoda realize that the order's so far gone that it has to be... This event has to happen to recreate it, to make it what it was once? So does he kind of in the back of his mind, does he know... he's like, but this is the will of the Force. This is what has to happen. Yeah. I can't tell everybody else what's going to happen because they're going to try to stop it. Yeah. It hurts me, but this is.
I have to let this carry out.
This has to be what happens to get the Jedi back to where it needs to be again.
Honestly, I like that because that just adds so much more to that tragedy of it. I've thought of it.
Well, I was just thinking that, he goes and he has like some of those visions and stuff like that. And if you just look how he acts sometimes and how wise he's supposed to be and stuff, in my mind, I feel like he knew. Mm-hmm. Like the Force kind of spoke to him and said, yeah, this is going to be hard, this is going to be difficult, but this is what has to pass to get the balance and then back to
I like that a lot. I wish that I don't even know if that's how they want to spin it, because I think we're to believe it's more on the arrogant side, but like that just adds a whole nother layer.
I think that the arrogance is part that he realizes, hey, we've become something that we weren't supposed to, and this is awful, but this is what it's going to take. We all have to basically sacrifice ourselves for it to become new again.
Yes. Yeah.
Because let's think, did he let Palpatine win that battle when they fought? How strong he was and all that, and then he just left.
Yeah, he just fled.
And hiding.
Yeah, you would think he would have been able to take him,
right?
beat him.
Yeah. Did he just give up on that a little too easy? Because he's like, I have to do something, but at the same time, I have to let what has to happen.
Yeah.
But I can't make it look like I did nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of thing. Just throwing out something I've been thinking about.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Lucasfilm, we'd like to be in the writers' room, because that just blew my mind. I never even thought of that before. But yeah, I would. That would be good. Now I need to process this for like a while here. I need to meditate on my own here to figure out. Whew.
Well, I was just kind of thinking about, because I knew what we was going to talk about and stuff.
And like that ties in so well to what we're to believe that was going on in the, because like they were so far gone. They were arrogant with where they were, what their status was in the galaxy. They inserted themselves in a war that they didn't need to be in.
Yeah, and here I'm going to toss even more at you. So like, when Ahsoka left.
Yeah.
And the way that one was it in the season 7 of the Clone Wars, when she tries to talk to Anakin and Anakin's not available, when they kind of tie into that whole scene from Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like more to set and she's like, no, I'll wait. And just some of that there, then how he appears to her in Rebels too, doesn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, he appears,
Yeah,
but just little things like I think he felt that Ahsoka was part of the future, and that's why he, when the whole thing, I think what he knew she was innocent when her trial was and all that.
Yeah.
But he's like, I think the Force revealed to him that she's part of the future, and he's like, somehow I got to get her out of this.
Yeah.
Somehow we got to get her out of the way so she doesn't get caught up
in the crossfire
in what's going to happen here, where she's still out there.
Yeah. And
then someday, she has a part in the rebuilding of this.
Yeah. No, very well could be, because that adds to that pretty well. I would think, from what I remember.
Because my thoughts on Yoda and how I look at him, stuff like that, that whole thing with what happened to Ahsoka and all that, he knew. He knew that she wouldn't have done that, And he just, again, just one of those things, he's like, I got to let this play out.
Yeah. Man, that's good. I could easily see that fitting into that narrative so well. Gee, now I gotta watch like everything that Yoda's ever done, and then kind of put that into the framework, and then it's probably gonna reinforce me. And then that's probably my own personal headcanon. If they don't say that that's what's going on, that's how I'm interpreting.
That's kind of how I have it in my mind too. And to me, that makes it even more tragic.
Yeah, absolutely. It just has to be just watch and just let it happen. And just woof. Well, on that note, I guess we'll call it for this scratcher. That was a good scratcher, Dad. Goodness. I'm scratching my in disbelief now. So if any of y'all in the comments or wherever, if you're listening on Spotify or in the comments of this video, have any scratchers of your own, if you notice something in one of the movies or the shows that you're like, you know what? Did anybody think about that? Or why did that happen the way that it did? Feel free to put in the comments, or put in the comments. I think Spotify's got comments. I haven't checked, but I think you can leave a comment on Spotify. And tell us what you think, and we'd be more than happy to bring it up on the show.
Yeah.
So,
and I like to hear, like, I was talking about Yoda there, other people's thoughts on that too.
So
or ideas they might have on.
Yeah, so post below. Keep the discussion going. We love reading other people's thoughts and ideas, and like they'll get addressed on the show, I'm sure. So. All right, Dad. So this year, 2025, the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Like, it's so fun to me because they've done stuff in celebration of that. Revenge of the Sith released in certain theaters. That was fun. I didn't personally. There wasn't a theater near me. And
I would have saw it if I had a chance.
Yeah. The Black Series figures, which I don't collect them anymore, but I almost bought one. They released their figs in the old Revenge of the Sith packaging, and that was such a throwback for me because when I think of Star Wars and like growing up and stuff, the whole hype around Revenge of the Sith and everything that came with that's the first thing I think of. And that's why Revenge of the Sith is like my favorite Star Wars movie because of just being engulfed in that was such just like, I think it's what formed my fandom, honestly. And just being able to share that with you and to do all that stuff and go out hunting for our figures and stuff like that sends me back and it's just, I don't know, just good old feel.
Those old Midnight Madnesses were a lot of fun. A lot of good memories there.
Oh, yeah. And it's kind of funny to think about it. I feel like Revenge of the Sith was kind of one of those movies. Well, it was in how they released it. Everybody knew the story going in, but it was one of the most successful releases of the prequel trilogy that they had. But, like, I remember there was a video game adaptation that was released before the movie was released. And so, like, the video game adaptation had most of the interpretation of the script right, but there was some differentiations. And, like, there was articles and stuff like that basically explained what was going to happen. So, like, the audience knew what was going to happen walking into it. And yet it still did as well as it did, which as a marketing person and like thinking about how you want to advertise for your movie, we complain that the trailers these days that they make for the TV shows and for the movies, they either show too little or too much, and then that's all we get because like the trailers make it seem like it's going to be this awesome thing, and it was overhyped. But like for Revenge of the Sith, we knew everything that was going to happen before we walked in.
I think they kind of did They're like, everybody knows what's going to happen here, so there's no real secrets. I mean, the action getting to it and stuff, haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
But I think that's why so much of it was revealed, because they're like, well, you already know, so let's build up this hype of, where we're going.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I could see that. And that was played very well. I mean... Yeah, as a kid I didn't fully know, but like looking back on like because nowadays I look back to all the media and stuff that was released around the time. I was like, how do you know?
Well, it's kind of perfect because kids your age that were just coming in life in Star Wars didn't quite. I think you kind of knew, but at the same time you're kind of so there was the hype for your generation. My generation, I'd waited all those years to finally see that moment.
Yeah.
On the big screen and stuff. So it just had a lot of
build up, and then that it executed pretty well. As a I obviously I'll admit I probably look at Revenge of the Sith with a lot of rose colored glasses and stuff. What is I know it's not your top Star Wars movie, but what's your take on it?
I like it. There's a couple things in it I would tweak. I don't like the high ground thing.
Yeah.
I think that moment would have been more powerful if there was no dialogue and they just had the music. The music was so good. If they wouldn't have said nothing at all, and if Obi-Wan would have jumped, up on the hill, and then Anakin followed. If you would have had no dialogue there at all until Obi-Wan says you were the chosen one, would have made that even better for me. That it's like you got this great moment, and the dialogue's like, ooh,
I totally get that.
I love their fight and all that. I mean, I got, like I said, a few nitpicks. That's one of the nitpicks. How Padme dying of a broken heart. I felt like they needed I felt like Padme needed to live.
Yeah.
And then eventually have it where she passed, like maybe she's on hiding in an Alderaan or someplace. And because the whole thing in Return of the Jedi where Leia's like, when Luke's like, do you remember your mother, your old mother? And she's like, yeah, she died very young. And he's like, well, what do you remember?
Yeah.
I feel like they needed Leia to be a little... I always kind of thought Luke and Leia's mom, before we knew her name, was on Alderaan and kind of like how Obi-Wan was watching Luke from a distance. Mm-hmm. She's kind of part of Leia's life, but Leia didn't know that was her mother.
Yeah.
Maybe thought it was a nanny.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines, or something.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. So that kind of. I didn't like how Palpatine took out the Jedis when they come to arrest him too.
Yeah.
If they would have had him do something like some kind of like force repulse, or I know they were saving the lightning thing for the climax with him and Mace Windu. Mm-hmm. If he would have done something and it like knocked those Jedis off guard, or even if they would have redone how his jump and everything is in such slow. If it would have been like, if he would have like somehow like threw his lightsaber real fast, or something like caught him off guard.
Yeah.
Now I know the whole reason they had to do that, they were supposed to have been a fight scene, and the guys couldn't hold on to their lightsabers in battle with the
prosthetics,
gloves and stuff on.
Yeah.
But especially because I really like Kit Fisto and Stacey Teen. It's like, you guys went out like the biggest jumps.
Yeah, and we've seen them, especially more in like the Clone Wars adaptations and stuff. And it's like, we know you can handle this.
Yeah, and granted, Palpatine's the big baddie. He's the big Sith, so he's more powerful. Just, I feel like they didn't put enough time. Okay, so it's not going to work with the prosthetics and the fighting with the lightsabers. They felt like they could have came up with something different there to make it. And I think I've seen people say when he does the spin, it's some kind of force thing that like a stun or something like that.
Or they say when he yells, it's like a Sith scream or something like that.
I don't know. I think that would have been more epic if there would have been some kind of just a little bit more to that.
And there's we've seen bits and pieces of it. I think there's a YouTube channel out there that has like those cut choreography practices, and I think there was one of them for the throne room. I think I can't remember the channel's name, but I'll try and see if I can find it and link it down in the description. Great stuff because you talk about cut choreography. They had that was cut. There was some fight scenes in the Dooku versus Obi-Wan and Anakin fight. There was scenes taken out of that were really cool. Obi-Wan versus the Magna Guards before he fought Grievous. There was a whole little bout there that they had to cut out for like time constraints or whatnot. So there's some cool stuff that we could have definitely seen.
And one of my might be my top least favorite special effect of any of the Star Wars things. I absolutely hate every time when I'm watching the beginning of Revenge of the Sith and Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting Dooku, and when Obi-Wan gets thrown and Dooku drops that platform on him, that is the worst visual effect of all time, because it looks like it should just smash Obi-Wan's leg, and it's like, and it's so jerk, and it's like, how did they go back and replay that and think that looked good? You know what you're talking about. That was like my lead. Every time I watch it, because I like the whole fight, and when it gets to that part, I'm like, that just totally, it just takes me out of it every time. That is one of the worst shots in all the.
Thinking about it right now,
it just looks so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. And just look, every movie has things, and you start overanalyzing how Plo Koon is in his one starfighter, but when you see him in the cockpit, it's the other Jedi style Jedi Star. It's like little things like that. It's like, how do you miss things like that when you go through the editing? Of course, us nerds pick it up right away. But
well, that's why we have the scratchers. We nitpick.
And by the way, Plo Koon's still alive someplace. I refuse to believe my favorite Jedi went out like that.
Well, I liked how they build up on the lore of that. Is that I forget the 104th, the Wolfpack Battalion. They were so loyal to Plo Koon that specifically when Plo Koon was in the battle that he was at, they had to Palpatine had to put him with a different unit so that way they would actually execute the order. And I thought that was a cool little twist. But yeah, I mean, we didn't see him. Wolfpack for life. We didn't see him. We saw him get shot down. We didn't see him die. Yep. So that Star Wars always leaves that open.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got robotic legs and everything. Yep. Instead of a spider, he's like a centipede or something. No. But no, it was probably my favorite of the prequel trilogy. There's that deleted scene of Yoda arriving on Dagobah. That would have been kind of neat to see, but I do agree that would have kind of would have been weird going from focusing on the Skywalkers to all of a sudden, oh, there's Yoda.
Yeah.
So I get that. Would have liked to see Syndralig fighting.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that.
In my mind, that when Anakin's marching into the temple at the 501st, and this is just for me personally, I would have loved that to have been the first time to hear the Imperial March.
Ooh, yeah.
And when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, they're going to do the Imperial March. It's going to be the first time we get the Imperial March. I think that would have been so cool, or at least a form. If John Williams would have done,
there's hints of it.
Going into it would have really been really been cool.
How do you think Shakti died?
She got thrown into a Sarlacc pit when the Force Unleashed.
Oh my goodness, yeah, she did. I forgot about that. Because the deleted scenes, they had a scene where Anakin killed her. They had a scene where Grievous killed her aboard the. I forget. And
I'm glad they didn't use that scene because I hate when you see that deleted scene and he kills her. And there's no emotional response. They're like, "No, she's dead now."
Shucks.
You're going to pay for that. It's like it fell flat. It just didn't gel very well at all. Maybe did we need to see with all the Jedi we were kind of introduced to the main ones in the prequel trilogy in the temple scene? Did we need to see Anakin kill one of the main ones? Would that have gave that scene even more impact if we would have seen him?
I think so.
I mean, he cuts Mace's hand off.
Yeah.
And he's involved in that part, but if we would have seen him take out, maybe if he would have took out Kit Fisto or something, one of the main ones or somebody else that was on the council or something.
Yeah, I think that would have added a little bit more to it.
Yeah, I think that was the one thing I was left wanting more of. I was like, the Order 66. I wanted to see more of that. It just seemed to go through it so fast.
I liked the little tidbits that we've gotten from the Mandalorian. Well, was it from or was it in the Book of Boba Fett episodes that we saw No, it was in the Mandalorian when we saw Grogu escape the temple.
Yeah, and then
Kenobi.
Yeah, and Bad Batch too with Kanan. Yeah.
So it's been nice seeing different
event. Yeah, added to it. Yep.
So that's been great.
Yep.
But yeah, left wanting a little bit more out of, especially the temple scene, I think. Which in the video game adaptation, there's a whole level dedicated to cutting down Jedi in the temple scene. None of the younglings, though. I don't think they would have gotten away with a rated T rating if that scene was in there.
It'd almost be neat to have a little series, how would you do a little show or something, Order 66, and cover some of the other, just...
The tragedies of Star Wars. This episode is Order 66. The next one's the Night of 1,000 Tears.
Yeah, or something like. Yeah.
Watch this series if you just want to feel sad.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, I got rose-colored glasses watching that movie. It's
I liked that, and I really enjoyed it. And then, like I said, we can always nitpick, and it goes back to again. And I said the same thing about the sequel trilogy. I grew up, saw the original movies in the theaters when they first came out and stuff. I grew up with it. I had all these years in my head, in my mind, what became of Han, Luke, and Leia. Some of it was shaped around the Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn, because that came out like 7 years after Return of the Jedi. So part of that shaped part of it. But I had all that in my mind, and there was nothing, no director, no writer could have done that would have matched what I imagined in my head.
Yeah.
So regardless of what we would have got, it would have been different than what was in my head.
I think at the very least,
and the same thing with the prequels. When all those years I'd grown up, I was like, the Clone Wars. What was the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
So it was different than what but I liked it and stuff. There's things I think everybody maybe done a little bit different, but overall, I like it.
As long as they make it make sense, and I feel like in the terms of the prequel trilogy, they kind of established enough there to make it make sense, and then of course we've had plenty of years of like additional lore building and stuff like that. But then with the sequel trilogy, it just didn't really jive well from going like A to B. And I think
that was
regardless of what our headcanon is, if you can make it make sense, I feel like that adds a lot more to it.
Yeah. I still, with the prequel trilogy, I still feel like starting with Anakin 2 with so young isn't what I would have done. I would have had him been older. I didn't need to see his early childhood, and then part of the dialogue could have been something where they mentioned, when somebody says, why is that Jedi so good? Well, we think he was conceived by the Force. We think that's I think I need to see him older. I always kind of thought there'd be more of a love triangle between, where not that Obi-Wan thought of her in a romantic way, but the jealousy, like there would have been events and scenes where Obi-Wan always saved the day, and Padme was grateful for it, and you could start to see the jealousy build up in Anakin's eyes, like, thinking that she's thinking one way about him, but she's not, and Obi-Wan's, but they very loosely, they kind of tap into that Revenge of the Sith. I always kind of thought, they should have done more with that. Yeah. Where it would have been more of a, But I think I would have started him off maybe in his early 20s or something like that.
Yeah. And if they would have done that, I know a lot of people talk about watching the prequel trilogy and the development of Anakin through that, and then you throw in the Clone Wars series in there and just how he's portrayed are just different, and so it's hard to gel them together. So you kind of have to be like, okay, I guess that could have happened, but it's not very streamlined in how his just attitude changes and how his personality is.
And I get it. When he did the prequel trilogy, he probably didn't know he was doing the Clone Wars series, so he's like, I have to show this change in this guy's demeanor, real fast, because I don't know if I'm going to fill in the blanks in between. So if there's only the 3 movies, you have to see it. But and I really thought when they first announced the prequel trilogy, I really thought the last half of Revenge of the Sith would be Darth Vader going around the galaxy hunting down, kind of, he'd already be Darth Vader halfway through, earlier, and that, or even maybe the third movie he would be Darth Vader by then. Yeah. So maybe not in the armor, but he would have already fallen.
He was going and hunting
then the third would have been Obi-Wan going after him and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
But overall, I like I said, I like it. I mean, there's always, it's hard when you're a kid and you have an imagination, you think one way, and then you see, it's just,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
yeah. But over, I like it. I like it. So I was never, there for a while. It seemed like there's a lot of prequel hate and stuff. I didn't hate them. I enjoyed them. It wasn't quite what I had in my head, but I enjoyed them. I had fun when I watched them.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And stuff. I kind of wish Lucas would have came up with the story thought and had somebody else direct them and stuff like that. I think that hurt them a little bit. I love a lot of Attack of the Clones, but the love stuff in it is so, compared to how you had Han and Leia in Empire Strikes Back, that's so well written and stuff. It is rough.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah. No, it absolutely.
It just seems so. And I think he even said, he didn't know how to write or direct a love story, whatever. It's like, well, then
have someone else.
Have somebody else come in and do that part for you.
Yeah.
But here it sounds like I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm nitpicking. I love it. This is even through thick and through thick and thin, I'll always love it. Good times, bad times.
Absolutely.
So we're just kind of tossing out things, our thoughts or things we would like to see and stuff. But
no, absolutely.
I watch them. I'm a nerd. I watch them all the time. Usually at least once a week or something. I got one of them in the back.
Got something going on.
Even if I'm doing something else and they're on in the background or something. So.
Oh yeah. It's what the show's about. We're able to nerd out. Yeah.
So. You were 7? Not quite 7. Yeah, not quite 7 when you saw it. What was your favorite scene? When young Dakota sitting in the theater? Sitting in the theater. What scene just made you go, wow?
Honestly, I remember watching the Anakin versus Obi-Wan fight so many times. Like the music, the Battle of the Heroes soundtrack. That I would play that on repeat.
Oh yeah.
So that I remember I got so into watching that scene that I would replay that and skip all the Yoda versus Palpatine scenes just to keep going cohesively. The Anakin versus Obi-Wan one, that one I'd say 100%. Okay. I thought that was epic beyond like whoa, and on Mustafar with the lava exploding in the background. I know a lot of people would say well, those fight scenes from the prequels, a lot of them were really over the top and you don't see that too much anymore. But for the time, I loved it. I thought it was. I love it even now looking back and watching it. So I'd say that was probably my favorite scene, and it still is to be fully transparent.
So I remember I would go see it first, which I go to the midnight showing. Just because I wanted to watch it before you did, because you were young enough, I wanted to make sure there was nothing in there that would bother you. Now, you were really young when Attack of the Clones. What would you have been? Not quite 4?
I've been 4 or 5, I thought, yeah.
So, I went and saw Attack of the Clones, the midnight showing first, and when I saw what happened to Jango Fett, because he was one of the first figures you had, and you loved Jango Fett.
Yeah.
And I saw what happened. I remember telling your mom, we may need to distract him during a part of this movie, and we did.
Yeah.
And you saw that he died, but you didn't see what I thought. Seeing him get his head cut off might be a little too much for you at your age.
Yeah.
So I remember making sure that you was kind of a little bit distracted a little bit when it showed him actually chopping his head. So
well, it didn't help that there was a figure released around that time where his head popped off.
But having a figure is one thing, but for a little kid, the visual, because you were the Jango Fett fan, and I was like, oh no, how's he gonna? It's one thing getting shot or slashed with the lightsaber. I was like, his head goes, oh boy,
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, good memories of going to that, and you're dressed up in your little Darth Vader costume and meeting the guy and the adult. I wish I would have had a video camera back. We would have had the fancier cell phones back then because that was so neat.
I remember.
Awesome memory. That's one of my favorite memories of when you were little. Excuse me.
It stinks
I've been
now.
force choked.
It stinks now. You can't dress up in theaters as much as you used to.
Yeah, you can't have your mask on.
Because I remember vividly, I don't know if they were like, I know they have that 501st troop that dresses around and does events and stuff. I don't know if that was them back then. It might have been.
Yeah, it was a branch off the 501st.
But I don't think you can do that. I remember it being so cool seeing like the troopers and Vader and everything. Even though I was terrified of Vader.
But the reenactors can, but like you can't wear like how you wear your Darth Vader helmet into the theater and stuff. They wouldn't let you do that anymore.
Yeah. So
get it, but that's too bad. The world has to be that way. But
absolutely.
You remember Darth Raven?
Yeah,
was walking around there too.
Yeah, that was cool.
Was there a Tusken Raider too?
Yeah, there was a Tusken Raider, there was an Imperial Guard, and there was a Sand Trooper, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So there might have been.
And there were some Imperial officers because I remember the female one thought you were so cute. So good times. Hard to believe it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
So. Well, then it's hard to believe you think already the Force Awakens 10 years old now too. So
yeah, good.
It's like, geez, the time goes by too quick.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to be talking about that at some point. And 10 years of Force Awakens.
Yeah. What could have been?
What could have been? I remember I went into that, and we'll talk about this later. I went into that. I already knew Han was going to die. I got spoiled from stinging Facebook before I went in.
No.
And I was trying so hard to forget what I saw, and it didn't work. Because I was like, I saw that coming.
I had my suspicions going into it that something was going to... Because I knew Harrison Ford, kind of wanted him to die in Return of the Jedi anyway. So I had my suspicions that something was probably going to happen to him. But
that's another topic.
Yeah, that's another topic. That's a story for another time.
That's a story for another time. The vast Scruffy lexicon. We'll cover that one eventually. You got anything else, Pop?
I think that's it. We don't know when that Darth Maul animated series is coming out, right?
No, I don't think they got a release date.
And then I see they started filming Ahsoka season 2.
Yes.
And I've been hearing late 2026. So the next Star Wars thing we probably got then's the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
So
I still can't believe we don't have the little teaser trailer for that yet.
I think they're still going off of the idea that we've already seen it or haven't seen it.
I know, but
you think they'd have to have
usually a year ahead of time. You got something out there where you can replay it over and over, and
I'm hoping it's
overanalyze it.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're assuming that everybody didn't see it, because if they're not showing anything because they're keeping to a hip, I'm kind of a little worried about that. Because it almost seems like it might not have too many legs to stand on. But
yeah, it's got a lot riding on it.
Yeah.
Say that for sure. So
yeah,
they're banking on that little green dude. Which I'm probably one of the few people I am Grogu'd out.
Yeah, I'm ready to...
I was so excited when he was first revealed, and I thought it was going to be... Here we're going way off on other things, but I thought, we might see him for an episode or two, and that was it. And then... The more he hung around, the more it seemed like he got forced and everything. It kind of oversaturated him personally for me, where I got the coolness and uniqueness of him went away real quick, and I was like, all right, I'm okay. I like him, but go away for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I thought we were going to get rid of him for a little bit, and then they rushed him back. And
and that would have been fine even if we did end up keeping him till the time that he went away, and then he was just gone. Like, I would have been perfectly
gone
okay
for a
with
whole
that.
Season.
Yeah.
How can I miss you when you don't leave?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
So didn't they say if we're going to hear him talk in this movie?
Oh, are we? I didn't know.
I thought I read somewhere and said that we're going to hear him say his first words and stuff. So at this point, to redeem that little green guy for me, when they have movies that take place way in the future, they got to have it where he turns out to be the bad guy.
Oh,
I think that would be one of to me, that would be up there with finding out Vader's Luke's dad is have him part of the story or whatever. You're like, hey, there's Grogu back. And then as it goes on, the big twist is he's the main bad guy.
That would be
that he had
twist.
fallen someplace.
Yeah.
And then, well, just think, how everybody be like, oh no, no, how the emotional impact.
Oh
of
yeah.
that.
That would have been. That'd be a solid twist if they were to do something like that. I don't know if they're bold enough for that.
I don't think they have the guts.
I
I don't think they have the guts to do it.
Again, Lucasfilm. We can be in that writing room. We got the guts. We'll pull the trigger. You can blame us. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. If you're not bold enough, we'll do it. Ourselves.
Paint that little dude red and put black Sith tattoos all over. Yeah, he's sitting there on his Sith throne eating those little blue macaroons. Those little. He's got a little frog hanging out of his mouth.
Oh, that'd be good.
Maybe by then he's the size of Jabba the Hutt eating all those frogs. He's sitting on a throne.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Well, that's going to wrap things up for today's episode. If you liked it, be sure to show us by liking down below. And if you'd like to stay up to date on all things Scruffy, be sure to give us a follow on Spotify and Instagram. And until next time, may the Force be with you.